She didn't leave when she stopped loving you. She left the moment she stopped respecting you. And here's the brutal truth. Respect always dies long before love does. You felt it before you admitted it. The short replies, the colder tone in her voice, the way her eyes stopped lighting up when you walked into the room. Those weren't random mood swings. Those were signals. But you told yourself it was stress. You told yourself it was timing. You told yourself it would pass. Deep down, you knew. And that's why you need to hear this. Because this isn't just another breakup story. This is the truth she'll never say to your face. It's going to sting, but if you can handle it, you'll finally understand why she really left. And more importantly, how you make sure it never happens again. How many times did you cancel the gym because she wanted to see you? How many times did you silence your truth just to avoid a fight? How many times did you drop your own plans just so her world stayed comfortable? You told yourself it was sacrifice. You told yourself it was love, but what did it really cost you? Think back to the bag you dropped by the door. You were lacing your shoes for the gym, she called, and you told yourself, I'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow turned into next week turned into never. Think about the goals you shelved. The project you once poured energy into now sat untouched, while you poured that same energy into keeping her happy. And think about the moments you swallowed your own truth. You had something to say, something real, but you kept quiet because you thought it would keep the peace. At first, she smiled. She thanked you. She leaned into the comfort, but underneath, something shifted, slowly, quietly. Respect was leaking out of the room. If you've ever felt yourself bending until you broke, type "never again" in the comments. And if you know a man should never abandon himself, hit like as your own vow. She didn't see devotion. She saw erosion. The man she once admired was bending, reshaping, softening. And no matter what she told you with her words, her eyes told a different story. Every time you made her the center of your world, she admired you less. Not because she wanted a selfish man, but because she wanted a strong one. A woman doesn't love you more when you abandon yourself. She only admires the man who refuses to abandon his purpose. Picture a fortress with walls that once stood tall. Every time you bent over backwards, another stone was pulled from the foundation. At first, she didn't notice. But one day, she looked around and realized the walls were gone. The safety she once felt in you had crumbled, and without safety, admiration can't survive. You saw it before you admitted it. The way she looked at you changed. The admiration that used to light up her eyes, gone. The softness that once made you feel like a man, replaced with something colder. Her words didn't tell you, her eyes did. The texts grew shorter, the laughter faded. Even when she was with you, she wasn't really with you anymore. And you kept asking yourself, what's wrong? Did I say something? Did I do something? But here's the truth you've been avoiding. That shift wasn't random. It wasn't stress. It wasn't hormones or timing. It was respect dying in real time. And once a woman stops respecting you, everything else is already on a countdown. You tried to joke more. You tried to talk more. You tried to win her back with effort, but all she saw was desperation. Because you weren't fighting for her love anymore. You were fighting against the loss of respect. And that's a fight you never win. Think about the little tests. She showed up late. She canceled last minute. She threw out another man's name just to see how you'd react. And instead of standing tall, instead of holding your line, you bent. You excused it. You laughed it off. And in that moment, something in her switched. Because every time you fold, every time you beg, every time you prove you can be shaken, she feels it. She loses faith in the man she thought you were. That's why her eyes went cold. That's why the spark vanished. Not because she stopped loving you overnight, but because the foundation underneath her love collapsed. You need to understand this. Women don't wake up one morning and decide to leave. They watch you in silence. They notice the cracks. They test the walls. And when the walls give way, their respect dies first. And love always follows after. So stop telling yourself she was confusing. Stop telling yourself it didn't make sense. It made perfect sense. And here's the truth you can't ignore. Once respect dies, no gift, no apology, no desperate speech will bring it back. You can't beg for her eyes to shine again. The only way they ever will is when you rebuild the man she first admired, the man who stood tall on his mission, the man who didn't need her approval to know his worth. But here's the twist. By the time you rebuild that man, you won't even need her eyes on you anymore, because once you respect yourself, you'll never chase her respect again. The mirror doesn't lie. Look at who you became in that relationship. The ambition that once drove you, shelved. The body you worked for, softer. The discipline you once guarded, gone. And here's the hardest part to face. You gave her a version of you that even you didn't respect. You looked in the mirror and didn't see a man standing tall. You saw a man shrinking, bending, fading. So how could she respect you when you couldn't respect yourself? This is where most men get lost. They think the breakup destroyed them. They think she broke their spirit. But the truth is darker. She didn't break you. She revealed the cracks that were already there. Every skipped workout, every promise you broke to yourself, every time you swallowed your words just to keep her happy. Those were cracks in the foundation. And the breakup? That was just the moment the house finally collapsed. It stings because deep down, you know it's true. You weren't living as the man you were meant to be. You were living as a watered-down version of yourself, hoping it would be enough. But watered-down men don't inspire respect. They inspire pity. If you've looked in the mirror and seen that version of yourself, comment, "I see him," and hit subscribe right now, not for me, but as your promise to never let that man win again. And no woman can love a man she pities. So you stared in the mirror and hated what you saw. And instead of changing it, you hid from it. You drowned in distractions. You begged her to fill the void that only you could fill. And that's the trap. Respect doesn't come from her eyes, it comes from yours. The day you can look in the mirror and admire the man staring back, that's the day you'll never beg for anyone's validation again. Not hers, not anyone's. You tried. You poured everything you had into saving it. The long texts, the late-night calls, the flowers, the desperate talks that went in circles. And every time you thought, maybe this will fix it. Maybe this will bring her back. But it didn't. Nothing worked. And deep down, you knew why. Because you weren't fighting for her love anymore. You were fighting against the loss of respect. And once respect dies, it doesn't respond to effort. It doesn't respond to gifts. It doesn't even respond to love. Respect cannot be begged back. It cannot be bribed. It cannot be forced. And that's why she pulled away even harder. Because every attempt you made to win her back only confirmed what she already felt. That you had lost yourself. That the man she once admired wasn't there anymore. Think about the last time you begged her to talk. The last time you explained yourself over and over, hoping she'd understand. She didn't see love in that moment. She saw desperation. And desperation kills attraction. Here's the brutal truth. The harder you tried, the faster you drowned, because you weren't showing strength, you were proving weakness. It's like water slipping through your hands. The tighter you clench, the faster it runs out. And if that stings, good, let it sting. Because that's the lesson most men never learn. Love can survive arguments. Love can survive mistakes. But love cannot survive the death of respect, and no matter what you tried, respect was already gone. So stop torturing yourself thinking you could have said the right words, done the right thing, bought the right gift. There was no right move. The only way forward is not to win her back, but to win yourself back. Here's the truth most men don't want to face. Respect doesn't start with her. It starts with you. And until you rebuild the man in the mirror, nothing else matters. So how do you do it? You don't need a 10-step plan. You don't need anyone's permission. You need to start stacking small wins. Pick up the weights again. The body you let slide, build it back. Because every rep isn't just muscle. It's proof that you keep promises to yourself. Get back on your mission. The goals you shelved, dust them off. Start moving forward, even if the steps are small. Because every hour spent building your purpose is an hour reclaiming your self-respect. Guard your discipline. No more excuses, no more tomorrow. Every time you do what you said you'd do, you lay another brick in the wall of respect. And here's what happens. When you start stacking those bricks, you begin to feel different. You start walking different. You start speaking different. And she feels it too. Because women don't admire men who orbit them. They admire men who orbit their mission. But here's the paradox. By the time you rebuild that man, you won't even need her admiration anymore. Because this isn't about winning her back. This isn't about proving anything to her. This is about proving everything to yourself. Every mile you run, every set you finish, every boundary you enforce. If you're rebuilding brick by brick, type "I rise" in the comments and hit like now to seal it in as your affirmation that the rebuild has already started. Every goal you chase, each one is a message to yourself. I am back, I respect myself, and that is enough. And once you respect yourself again, something incredible happens. You stop chasing validation. You stop begging for her attention. You stop living in the past. And when she sees that version of you, if she ever does, it'll be too late, because the man you're becoming doesn't need her eyes on him. He already sees himself clearly. So let's be clear. She didn't leave because she stopped loving you. She left because she stopped respecting you. And as much as that truth hurts, it's also the gift. Because once you name it, you can change it. She didn't destroy you. She exposed you. She showed you where the cracks were, where you had abandoned yourself, where you stopped standing as the man you were meant to be. That's not the end of your story. That's the blueprint for your rebuild. You don't get respect back by chasing her. You don't get it back by begging. You get it back by choosing yourself. And you can make that choice today, right now. Type reset in the comments if you're done trading your dignity for scraps. Type reset if you're ready to start again. This is day one. And the man you rebuild from here, the man who keeps his mission, his discipline, his respect, that man doesn't just win a woman back, he wins his life back. And once you step into that, you'll finally understand. She didn't leave to break you, she left to wake you up. And if this spoke to you, subscribe right now, so every time you forget, you'll be reminded of who you're rebuilding into.